Okay, good morning, everyone. I think it's essentially we're in the same time zone. So in case we're not good morning, good evening, etc. We usually, when we're having an in-person media conference, we usually target the start when the identified media is here. So we have that. So we don't, we roll. As you know, this media conference is related to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games. However, before I start, because this is the first time we are gathering under the umbrella of an official Olympic Committee event, we'll take a minute's silence for Dion Lendo, three-time Olympian and Olympic medalist, who so tragically passed. May his soul rest in peace. He deserved the full minute. Every international sporting event, and the Olympic Games is no exception, there is intense scrutiny, global scrutiny, surrounding the Olympic Games and the city and country hosting the Olympic Games. And China is no exception in this instance. I start with that to say this, that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee is fully supportive of the International Olympic Committee's stance on the neutrality of the Olympic Games and the neutrality of sport. In that regard, the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee is accepting the invite to participate at the Beijing 2022 Olympic Games. Let there be no doubt about that. The history, but before I do that, let me just put some brief context. The intensity surrounding these games and the arrangements surrounding COVID-19 and the COVID-19 countermeasures have been very intense, evidence-based, and guided by the highest level of experts. The Beijing 2022 Games will be a closed-loop games, and there are very strict COVID-19 countermeasures. The Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, and by extension Team TTO, we are committed to be meticulous in ensuring that we adhere to the measures. And that is expected of every single member of Team TTO. The President of the People's Republic of China, President Xi Jinping, have given the assurance to the world and all the National Olympic Committees and all those attending the Beijing 2022 Games that no effort will be spared, and that at the highest level, beginning with President Xi Jinping, they are committed to the safety and health of every single member of every delegation traveling to Beijing 2022. Their expectation is that every delegate traveling do their part to ensure their own safety, the safety of your fellow athletes, your fellow officials, and also the people of China and the people of Beijing in particular. So I want to establish that framework very clearly. The bobsleigh team have met all the qualifications criteria for the Beijing Olympic Games. It is well known that the efforts, time wasn't a friend of the efforts, and therefore it required intense commitment and dedication. But above all, you know, people have a saying, a rocky beginning is a good ending. It required sincere, authentic commitment and collaboration between the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, the rejuvenated Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh Federation, and the athletes who were attempting to create history and to live their dreams of their Olympic dreams. However, it would be remiss of me if I did not articulate some truths and facts. Nothing is ever as it appears. Nothing is ever as easy as it appears. It is always sometimes much, much harder. The father of bobsleigh and sliding sport TNT is Gregory's son. Gregory, back in the days, would have committed and dedicated a lot of effort to build the foundation that the athletes who have stood on that foundation and those foundations and the foundation of Gregory's son and others to achieve their dream must to be acknowledged. Gregory's son established the Bobsleigh Federation, TNT, in 1992. Trinidad and Tobago was first represented in 1994 by Gregory's son and Curtis Harry. In fact, it is well acknowledged that he was inspired and motivated by Jamaica, 1988, because he attended the same university, University of Idaho, as Nelson Christian Stokes. So they go a long way back. Then in 1998, it was again Gregory's son and Curtis Harry. And then in 2002, which was the last time the Team TTO, red, black, and white sled appeared at the Winter Olympic Games. On this, and that instance, it was again Gregory's son, Andrew McNeely, and Errol Aguilera. 20 years has elapsed. And here we are. is a commitment of, and it must be acknowledged, Axel Brown. I must commend Axel Brown for his willingness to work with the TTOC and be guided in very important areas by the TTOC, Chef de Mission Lovey Santana, and the COVID-19 liaison officer, Reza Grant. At no point in time did Mr. Axel, who is a newcomer to Team TTO, do as if he had all the answers and that it was his way or the highway. And we commend him for that, for making the journey this far as smooth as possible. As I have said and indicated early on, they have met all the criteria. The Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee was very pleased when communicated with by the International Federation, confirming to have signed off on that. In fact, we did not delay. And therefore, the acknowledgement by the International Bobsleigh Federation came very quickly. So even though there are some additional processes to undergo in terms of reallocation, etc., the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee and the Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, sliding sport, we firmly believe that we can have this press conference to make the announcement that will be made very shortly, and I know everyone is anxious outside of Axel Brown. But it's very important that we place things in context. Also, there are those who feel that the TTOC, the bobsleigh program, Axel Brown and his group, and others, we are Johnny come lately. Snow and ice, what does it have to do with sun, sea, and sand? There's an organization called the Trinidad and Tobago Snow Sport Federation, which Abigail Vera was the first alpine skier to represent Trinidad and Tobago Team TTO at the Snow and Ice Games, multi-sport games that we know as the Winter Olympics. She was at the Junior Winter Olympic Games. We had, over the years, efforts by Nordic skiers, Mark Rajak and Nicholas Lau, to qualify. But as at the close of the 16th of January, for the boat sports, only the two-man bobsleigh team have qualified. That their efforts in snow and ice ought not to be dismissed or diminished. So here we are. The Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee received nomination from the Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation in terms of the bobsleigh team. The Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee was satisfied that the Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation of Trinidad and Tobago had a transparent, fair, and objective selection criteria, and we fully agreed to that criteria. And we are confident that the team that will be announced shortly was fairly and objectively selected. What we are encouraged by as an Olympic committee is the future. Obviously, the bobsleigh program currently is not about short term. It's not just about Beijing 2022. It is also about Milan Cortina, I hope I have the Italian correct, in 2026 and beyond. So that we are comforted by that. I'm pleased to announce that the team that will represent Team TTO at the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games is comprised of pilot Axel Brown, brakeman Andre Macano, alternate Michael Thomas. In the event between now and departure, should anything untoward, there is a reserve announced. I will leave that to bobsleigh to comment on that. The support team in terms of team specific is Thomas Harris and Louis Prentice. In the spirit of what bobsleigh and how the sport is operated, it will be remiss of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee if we did not acknowledge the effort of Thomas Harris in supporting the program to get the necessary points. However, because of the strict Olympic Charter rules, which requires athletes going to the Olympic Games to have a passport and citizenship in some form for the country that you are representing, Thomas Harris' efforts would have ended at the qualification process. But the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee is always transparent, we are always athlete-centered, and we recognize and acknowledge the effort of Thomas Harris, and we are indeed happy that the Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation have found it within their remit to present him to the TTOC to be part of the team. So, congratulations to all. And we ask of you that you simply do your best. Represent the red, white, and black. I have to comment on it. Axel Brown just has this smile on his face. And I could imagine the feelings you are, you are very experienced. You would have had your disappointments, Axel, in the Great Britain program, but you now have the opportunity and you've seized that to represent the country of birth of your mother. And I could just imagine that feeling. So smile all you want. Nobody will begrudge you that. As I was saying, that the expectations of the TTOC is a simple one: represent with pride, dignity, but above all, a respect for the rules. In the area of anti-doping and the strict IOC social media guidelines, both the chef de mission, Lavi Santana, and the COVID liaison officer, Riza Grant, who is also the TTOC's project officer for athlete services, responsibility also for athlete services, marketing, and anti-doping, will be able to properly guide the members of the team. I know in particular, and that's why I'm saying it quite openly, with social media, it is important we work together because we must respect the IOC's intellectual property rights, the athletes' intellectual property rights and image rights, but above all, the rights of the Olympic Games, and there are multi-stakeholders, including the TTOC. Yeah. So, February the 4th to the 20th, at the Bird Nest in the opening ceremony, Team TTO will parade out. I look forward with keen interest to the selection of the flag bearer. That is usually, under TTOC's tradition, the remit of the chef de mission. I know in the past games, Gregory's son would have carried the flag for 2 iterations of the games. And on one iteration, the brakeman Curtis Harry. But as I said, the selection of the flag bearer is usually the remit of the chef de mission, in this case, La Pistantana. And I know she's always been very open in having consultations with team. So, on that note, I will now invite the pilot, because from what we understand, Secretary General Nutt and TTOC, the pilot and Vice President Diana Henderson, the pilot is the main person in bobsleigh. So, Axel Brown, officially welcome to the world of Trinidad and Tobago Team TTO Olympic world. So the floor is yours, Axel.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I've been waiting a long time to hear those words. So yeah, it means a lot. And you're right, the smile hasn't left my face since it's all become somewhat official. This has been a long time in the making. And you're right. 4 years ago, I was met with disappointment, but I think that gave me the fire and the passion to continue that on these last 4 years and eventually make things happen. But I'm just so proud to be able to accomplish this, of course, but also to be able to do it for Trinidad and Tobago. Though it's only been a short amount of time, it's only been a matter of months since I got my passport and we were able to make all of the logistics happen. Obviously, that was compressed due to COVID, but yeah, even though it's only been a matter of months, these last months have meant more athletically, personally, and I've accomplished more in these 6 months than I have in my entire career prior. And honestly, it means the world. I'm so proud to be wearing these colours. I'm so proud that we're going to get to continue that over into Beijing and represent Trinidad and Tobago, like you said, with pride and respect, and perform as well as we can. We know we're capable of good things when we put it together, and so we're going to show that yes, we're there, and yes, it's a novelty, just like the original Cool Runnings movie, but we're going to try and do our best and hopefully shock the world in a good way. So you mentioned Tom Harris and the reserve. So the reserve for our team will be Shaquille John, which obviously is he's come away with us this entire season along with his brother Shamari John, and the whole team has created this opportunity. There's been several people involved from the start, like our legal team, Hoven Associates in Port of Spain, without which none of this would have been possible. Yes, I'm the figurehead of it all, but there's so many moving parts to this that have made it possible that I'm so grateful for. And I couldn't possibly mention everybody, but obviously the entire team that's come away with us this season: Shaquille, Shamari, Andre, Mikel, Tom and Lewis and everybody that's been involved directly on the ice. It's all made my job of driving the sled and creating the team and all of that much easier. So I honestly can't wait to get out to Beijing, and it's not going to be without its troubles. We've got a lot of hoops to jump through with regards to COVID and staying safe and all of those. And it remains to be seen what kind of Olympic experience we'll have, but I think regardless, just getting here has been such a momentous thing and getting to this point, but that doesn't mean our job's over. We still have to, do as well as we can over the next month, and hopefully come away feeling happy and proud with what we've been able to accomplish. So yeah, I think we look forward to these next few weeks, though they're going to be a challenge. I can't wait for that challenge, and we'll see what they hold realistically.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll now invite, if there are any particular logistical information, Chef de Mission Lavi Santana, would you wish to say or add anything at this particular point?
Thanks, Mr. Lewis. Good morning, everyone. At this time, because as you know, it's things happen so quickly, the logistics still ongoing, and I think those things are being confirmed in-house, so I wouldn't like to add anything to that at this point.
Okay, all right, and I suppose it will be the same thing for the COVID. Those where you will be in-house conversations with the team. Before I just open the floor to any questions from the media, Secretary General Not, is there anything you would want to add to the proceedings?
Good morning. Just to say good morning to everybody. And again, thanks to the media. They always respond well to when we ask them to come out. It's Zoom, yes, but still, thank you all for coming out. And also to say big congratulations to Axel and the whole team. You know, it's great to see that we do have a team after 20 years. And so, yes, just wanted to say congratulations. And also to Mikel, who we all know very well from the Summer Games and now transitioning to the Winter Olympics. Great. So thank you, guys. You put TTO back on the map again at the Winter Games. Great job.
Okay, thank you very much. I didn't want to touch on that. I left that for the question and answer because I know that, in fact, as a and that is something that has been long.
Mr. Lewis, you're breaking up right now. So
of Jamaica has been very important, a very important resource for the Caribbean in particular, in given our track and field prowess. And there's always been the feeling that once the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, can get a program that recruits track and field athletes, that the Caribbean will create some significant waves at the Winter Olympic Games. I mean, we have the history of Lauren Williams from the US, but as Trinidad and Tobago genes, who would have made that transition. So I left that, and I'm sure that the media will focus, target that. Mikel, as Secretary General, said, making Trinidad and Tobago history in the sense of being the first athlete, summer and winter. Before I go to the media, Vice President, I acknowledge you, Henderson. Any comment?
I would just like to give congrats to the team on, achieving this milestone. And, it's always so good to be branching off into the less known or unknown disciplines. So it's really a positive thing going forward. And hopefully we could even branch off to many more disciplines that we don't usually take part in. So congrats again, and looking forward to some good results.
Thank you very much. I think at the level of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, we are very excited and confident that this phase that will build on the work done by Greg's son will lead to the normalization of Trinidad and Tobago at the Winter Olympic Games, in particular in the discipline of, I would say, the sliding sport, but bobsleigh. So I think it's a real exciting phase we are going through, especially when I look at, when we TTOC, when we look at the pool of athletes that you have, in particular the youngsters, Shomari and Shaquille John, in the context of the future. And the fact that I really think that this group of athletes will attract more interest. So, but I don't want track and field to feel threatened in any way by the coming wave. But certainly it provides significant options for young people to fulfill their Olympic dreams. All right, so on that note, we now invite questions. Just please, housekeeping rules. just identify the name and the media house, and be appropriate and keep it short. We'll be looking to wrap up by 11:45 a.m. So, any questions and answers? Questions and answers. Questions. Okay, I see. Okay, I recognize. Hold on. Jovan Ravello is on his up. Then Ian Watson. So you can use the raise hand button. So go ahead, Jovan Ravello.
Hi, good morning to everybody. Jovan from TTT. I wanted to ask if there were, Axel as well, just to say congratulations, and to ask if there were any other opportunities for the team to train or fine tune before you all head off to the game.
Yeah, so we were in the fortunate position of knowing that we were in good standing since before Christmas. So we've been able to plan these months since Christmas to try and optimize our chances at the Olympics, which in this case meant not going to Europe to gain any more points, where there was a risk of COVID and significant travel issues bringing everyone from North America. Instead, we've been up, and this is where we are right now, is in Calgary in Canada, where we've been able to train at what's called an ice house, essentially an indoor push track, so we can practice the pushing side of things, because that's been our biggest hurdle to overcome. I've got plenty of experience driving, but the new athletes obviously don't have a wealth of experience pushing. So we decided that 3 weeks up in Calgary of pure push training would be the best way to prepare for going to Beijing, rather than risking a COVID infection or anything similar to that by going to Europe. And indeed, there's been several teams, including Jamaica, get hit by COVID, and I think it made the right choice. It was clear enough once we saw that this was an option to come out to Calgary and get the team together and prepare that way, prepare athletically. And I'll rely on my experience but when we get there, to make sure that I keep driving it well.
Okay, any other questions? Giovanna Ravello, before I pass on to the other person with their hand up, is Ian Watson.
And this one, yeah, I just had one more. It's for the TTOC. Thanks, Axel.
Go ahead.
You said, Mr. Lewis, earlier that there were some issues to be ironed out. Not issues, but you said there were minor things still to be ironed out. Can you elaborate on that?
Elaborate on minor issues.
On what other factors may be needing to be ironed out around.
Okay, water under the bridge. I think that again, Axel Brown and the Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation would have worked. We would have worked hand in hand with the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee to resolve any initial issues. But as I said, we have worked that through, and here we are. And that's it all goes well. I wish every national sporting organization was so willing to embrace the consultation and guidance and advice process of the TTOC. Okay, so yeah, all right. We have Ian Watson with his hand up, and then Walter Allaby. Yes.
Hi, good morning, and congratulations, Mr. Brown. Could you tell us, go through the qualification stages and how we get to qualify? It's different with different sports. So let's could you go through the qualification process for Trinidad and Tobago Bobsleigh?
Yeah, no problem. So there are 3 separate race circuits. There's the World Cup, European Cup, and North America's Cup, each of which consist of 8 races. We chose to compete in the North America's Cup for obvious geographical reasons, but it also represented our best chance at earning points. So you race across 8 separate races, and your top 7 of those 8 count towards Olympic qualification points. Within that, we needed to rank within the top 19 nations in the world or the top 30 sleds in the world. There's various different intricacies with how many sleds, which is the general term for a team, how many sleds each nation can take. So once you kind of work out those allocations, we need to be in the top 30, but the easier way of saying that is that we needed to be in the top 19 nations. So coming out of Christmas, we knew that we were in the top 14. And that gave us the kind of the room to work with coming up to now. So we sit in 17th out of the 19 nations and 38th in the world. We could have optimized those points to be ranked higher, but in actual fact, like I mentioned earlier, it worked better for us to kind of stop at Christmas and focus on Beijing. So essentially, it's the point system that works across all three levels of the sport, and it's a homogeneous point system that compares. So, for example, we racing in North America could be compared directly to a team racing in Europe or a team racing on the World Cup. So we just needed to utilize those points, get as many as we can, and crucially beat the other small nations that could have outranked us in that top 19.
Thank you so much. And before I go to the second question, I just want to please forgive me for my lack of house rules. Ian Mason from M&E TV. So the second question, I see that we have athletes, Andrew Meccano and Michael Thomas. How difficult was it difficult for the transition from one sport into another for them? And how if they're being athletes, if it was an advantage or an asset into this sport?
Well, Andre is actually on the call, so maybe he could speak to it as well. But I think every athlete that we brought out has taken incredibly well to the sport of bobsleigh. At its very basics, it's just pushing. Yes, there are nuances to the technique and stuff like that, but and it's a question I've been asked both by the athletes and people around. It's like, you know, they've almost within a matter of weeks or months been thrust into an Olympic environment, and they're like, you know, am I ready, kind of thing. And I say, yes, you've not been training for bobsleigh your entire life, but you've been training to stay at the top of your physical fitness and at that elite level of sport your entire life. So it might not be that you knew you were focusing on bobsleigh or knew that you were getting ready for the Olympics in bobsleigh, but indeed they've been getting ready athletically their whole lives for this one way or another. And so athletically, we've known in bobsleigh that I am complemented by a speed athlete because I'm very good at the raw power from 0 to say 30 meters when you push over 55 meters. But where I struggle is the leg speed to carry on after that. And we know that obviously in Trinidad and Tobago, there's speed in abundance. And indeed, we've found athletes that have been able to complement me well. And so a mixture of my experience and my expertise is partnered incredibly well with someone that has elite level speed and the power to match. And so they've been able to, you know, take to it like a duck to water because their existing skill set complements exactly what we needed coming in. So it's not been an incredibly harsh learning curve, though they've taken to it all. Every last one has taken to it incredibly quickly and incredibly efficiently. So sometimes to the extent where it's left us pretty much lost for words, having done it for so many years. So I'm like, how are they doing this so easily? So yeah, it's been incredibly fun to watch their progress, but also astounding how fast they've all been able to pick it up and go with it.
Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take one more question. I see Walter Alabi has his hand up. And then what we will do after that, no, hold a second, Walter, just now. Just letting you know. And given that the captain of Team TTO bobsleigh has more or less given his permission, we will then have the athletes on the call, Andre Meccano, Shumari and Shaquille John, just say a few words. So go ahead, Walter Alabi. Identify.
Yes. Yes, morning, Brian. I'm CNC3 Guardian. I know, Axel, you would have been, well, you are aware of the circuit, you know, and at this point in time, I expect that, you know, you will be doing a lot of assessment based on the preliminary rounds that you're going to enter. Having done that, I know you're doing it now. So how do you feel about your chances, you know, going into that preliminary round?
So the actual competition itself will consist of 4 runs. That's 4 trips down the track. The top 20 sleds get a 4th run. Everybody gets 3, and the top 20 get a 4th run. So coming in, that's our kind of upper goal. We know where we stand internationally. Like I said, we're currently coming in ranked 17th out of the 19 nations that will be competing. So we're not trying to get ahead of ourselves with regards to what we can accomplish. We're still in the very early fledgling stages of this team, and indeed, as we look to Milan in 4 years, we certainly aim to be much higher in that list. So we're not trying to get ahead of ourselves and say that we're going to come in and win gold, because realistically the chances of that are very, very slim. So to us, our gold medal would be making that top 20, making the fourth run on the second day of racing, and making that kind of criteria, because that puts you in amongst the best. So we'll see. And a lot of bobsleigh, yes, you've got the physical side and the driving side, but a lot of it can be a mind game. So it'll be interesting to see how the other small nations that we're in a pack with deal with the pressure, and indeed how I can kind of overcome that. So it's difficult to say certainly how we'll perform, because we're such a young team, but also how the other nations in our category will perform. But we certainly hope there's going to be 30 sleds in the race. So if we can make that top 20, I think that'll be a great success for us.
Was there any other questions?
Thanks, Brian. That's it.
Okay, good. I recognize Matt Nelson from Around the Rings. Welcome. But just before, I just wanted to say this, that as we said before, it's a building block phase. Rome wasn't built in a day. The 3 previous occasions that the Team TTO red, black, and white sled was that the Winter Olympic Games became, I think, 37th, and Salt Lake was 37th, the last ranked team. But again, that does not diminish the efforts of the pioneers, who, as I said, it's a whole different ball game now, a sled game. The Soca sleds are here, and so Matt Nelson, welcome Around the Rings. I think this is probably the first time that the renowned Around the Rings is actually at a TTOC press conference. So welcome, and thank you for the recognition of the importance of the moment. Go ahead, Matt Nelson.
Thank you, Brian. Axel, I've got 2 questions for you. The first one would be, some of the athletes attending the Beijing Games in the next few weeks have stressed that this is almost the most important time for them, as they're just trying to avoid COVID and get there. Is that similar for you as well?
Indeed. Well, it's important, obviously, for so many reasons. But as we do this, I sit here with a bag of many COVID tests next to us that we're doing every other day to try and stay clear. As I mentioned earlier on the call, we've had the luxury of knowing where we stand for quite some time. So we've decided to essentially isolate for the 3 weeks prior and compete in train in Calgary, being able to isolate from other people. It's hard to say whether it's kind of more important than any other games, as I haven't been to any others. It certainly feels like the most important to me. With what's gone before and where we are right now, it certainly feels incredibly important. It's hard to say compared to others, but certainly having made this one, even if I'd gone to the previous games with Great Britain, I can say with my hand on my heart that this is far more important for me, far more important for this team, and important for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago to see themselves represented, instead of being just a face in the crowd previously. We're now able to step out into that opening ceremony with pride and be the sole representatives of Trinidad and Tobago. So in that respect, yes, it's incredibly important. With regards to COVID specifically, we're just trying to do our best and trying to stay clear and get out there so that it doesn't taint our experience or limit us in any way.
And then my second question for you is if you've been out to the track in Yanqing, and if you've had a chance to drive on it, and what your thoughts about it are, or what your thoughts about it are, even if you haven't been out there.
Yeah, so there was an Olympic test event at the start of this season, which we were hoping to go to, but unfortunately with the deadline for that was May, and our team didn't officially exist until August, or kind of be re-established until August. So obviously we missed that deadline and we're unable to get out there. Though that seems like might have been somewhat of a blessing in disguise, though it would have given us a lot of reps down the Olympic track. The logistics of getting out there, and indeed the cost of getting out there, was just kind of mounting up and up, and athletes ended up spending nearly $100,000 just to get out for the 3 weeks of sliding. So in some ways it might have been a blessing in disguise. So I haven't been to the track, though I've seen and heard reports from those that have. The track's incredibly interesting from a pure bobsleigh perspective. It's the first track to have a 4-pressure Kreisel. That's a full loop, and a pressure is the point at which we steer. No corner in the world at the moment has 4 different steering points, but this one does. So I'm incredibly excited to kind of see how that works. There's a lot of very interesting corners. They're very open. So, you know, a corner normally looks like this, whereas a lot of the corners are quite open, which presents its own steering challenges. So it doesn't look particularly hard in terms of getting down safely, but it is a very interesting track in terms of finding out where the speed is, because there's various different elements that nobody's seen before. And at the training event, the Chinese, who have had hundreds of runs down it, as is their right with it being their track, they didn't show up to the test event because they didn't want to give away their secrets. So the actual amount of research from the entire sliding community on the track is small, but that's essentially what you buy by bidding for an Olympics, is the ability to test those things before anybody else does. So all I've been able to do is watch POV videos, look at other people's track notes that are willing to share them, and try and prepare as best I can. It's not the first time I've done this. Several times I've raced on tracks that I've only seen a week or so before. So it won't be my first time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. I just want to, before you close off the question stage, I want to acknowledge again, we just acknowledge Around the Rings, a renowned Olympic publication, and also acknowledge the presence of Alejandro from Pan Am Sports. So it's great to have Pan Am Sports in the house. Again, the importance of the occasion. Don't want to put you on the spot, but Alejandro, any questions? No, if no, it's fine. Just giving you the opportunity. No? Okay, we move on. So, as promised, having received the tacit approval of the captain of the team, Axel Brown, we'll invite the athletes for a brief word. But before I say that, I just want to also acknowledge Puma, our partners, because to be very honest, Winter Olympics wasn't in the conversation. Okay, maybe our bad, but hindsight is always 2020. So the response of Puma, even with Abigail Vera, and now the Team TTO bobsleigh, I want to acknowledge it, and it may very well be now that we see really what's happening. We may need to have the winter sport and snow and ice athletes very much in the conversation going forward with whoever we have the negotiations with. I see Alejandro. Welcome. Buenos dias. Muchas gracias. You need to unmute.
You're muted.
Sorry, now, yeah. Well, hi, how are you? In the name of the President of Pan Am Sport, Neven Illich, we are here now in a visit with all the delegation of Pan Am Sport here in Santiago, Chile. So in the name of the President and the Executive Committee of Pan Am Sport, I want to congratulate to the Team TTO, to Axel and his team. It's an honor for us to have another country in Beijing 2022. And well, my question is for Axel, and I want to know about what it means for you, not only to represent Trinidad and Tobago, is to represent the Americas, what it means for you, that you are representing, or you are going to represent all the Americas.
Yeah, I think from the start of this, I knew realistically I could have qualified for Great Britain or Trinidad and Tobago. And now that we've done that, we've seen that I could have done either. And I've had this conversation. it honestly means the world. It's been so fulfilling, and the welcome has been so warm. Obviously, you know, I got into sport to fulfill my own, you know, kind of personal dreams, but it's been shown to be so much more than that, even over this short couple of months. I mean, we had 12 or 13 fans come out to one of our races in Park City. And in my entire 7 years prior, never did I have strangers come and support me in a bobsleigh race. And so just that one instance is a highlight of how much it means to other people. And of course, you know, I'm proud to have done it for me, but I'm so proud that the people we are representing, which is ultimately our job as a national team, is to represent the people of the country. And like you said, now it's even bigger than that, which is incredible. You know, it's made that much more fulfilling by the people that we're representing, and seeing their warm, smiling faces over what we're doing. You know, it's very easy when you're in bobsleigh, and especially with COVID, there not really being anybody around to kind of be in a tunnel and just be focused on only the one thing that we're doing. So to hear and indeed see that more people are happy about what we're doing and people are welcoming and accepting is incredibly fulfilling, and I was so excited about that. And you know, hopefully it continues into the games and onto the next one, because I know that I can speak for myself and the rest of the athletes, seeing the outpouring of support on social media and in the news and everything. It makes everything so much more validating and fun.
Thank you and congratulations. And to President Lewis, what it means for you and another country of the Caribbean in Beijing 2023.
Well, it means a lot. You know, as I was saying earlier on, Trinidad and Tobago, we have a history of when, in this case, bobsleigh through Gregory's son, and there was this hiatus of 20 years due to circumstances that had to do with the reality of a bobsleigh program is expensive. Right? The sled is not like a bicycle or spikes, no offense. You know, the sleds are very expensive. You have to have a Ferrari, and it's almost like Formula One. So that's, you know, to have the opportunity, and as I was saying earlier on, we always knew, I mean, I'm saying the Olympic movement in the Caribbean, in the Americas, in Trinidad and Tobago, in Jamaica, we always knew that if we could somehow get a program together, the track in particular, even I would say track and field, but the track and field prowess we have lends itself, that athleticism, that sport genes lends itself to snow and ice, in this case, bobsleigh in particular. And we know the Europeans don't really want that to happen. You know, plain talk, bad manners. They don't want it to happen, but they know the potential. And therefore, as I was saying earlier on, this phase here is really so important to the Caribbean, because what it does, you know, because of the success has its downside. So we all know in the Caribbean, in particular, that there are a number of talented athletes who would easily make another country's track and field team that will not make it in the teams in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, to name three, Cuba, those countries, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, that bobsleigh gives them that opportunity. And it's very important. This, as I was saying earlier on, this is going to be a really exciting and dynamic stage for winter sports, because, as I said, for the various countries, the opportunity to have winter sport brand ambassadors selling the region, the country, to a different part of the world is huge. It has huge importance for the youth and young people who have Olympic dreams, that it is not only limited to the Summer Olympic Games, and you have to reinterpret failure and how you define failure. You know, as Axel was saying earlier on, speed is it. Speed complements. Axel played American football, so that anaerobic speed component is there. But so that's the long answer to your question, Alejandro. It's a very important moment.
Thank you, President. Well, in the name of President Nevenich, all the best for you, Axel, for Trinidad and Tobago in Beijing 2022, and we are going to support you from the Americas. So good luck.
Muchas gracias.
Excellent Spanish, President. Thank you.
I won't even try.
All right. So as we close now, I invite, with the permission of the captain of the Team TTO bobsleigh team, Andre Macano, Shomari, and Shakil John to say a few words. So Andre, if you're still on, Andre Macano, congratulations and welcome. Okay. Axel, your team on the conference or the.
I'm just texting him now. So
Maybe
he's
your voice. Maybe it's your voice that need to hear. So you take over this phase.
Indeed. So he's currently working, which is probably why. So he's listening in, but isn't able to speak. So, but I'm not sure about Shakil and Shamari. They are both still on. I'm not sure if they have something to say.
Maybe they're too shy.
Possibly.
Okay, I'll give them a couple more minutes, and if not, you know what it says, going, go on.
Oh, indeed.
Okay. Shomari,
here we go.
welcome.
Shomari's on.
Hi, good day, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, media, these parties. I just want to say it was actually a pleasure to actually start doing bobsled. It was unexpected because at first, honestly, I believed in myself that I would never do bobsled because it wasn't my kind of sport, coming from a track and field background. But to actually doing the sport and being a part of the entire atmosphere was actually really nice. It was a lot better than track and field. There was much pressure on you as in terms of track and field, I just have to say. But it was actually a really nice experience, and actually doing the runs and finding out that we actually qualified for the games. It was really nice and heartfelt. Felt really proud just to be a part of the team, doing everything that I could, just to make sure that we were effective and efficient. And I'm just thankful for the experience.
So Shomari, you're looking forward to the future. Milan.
I would like to, yes.
Okay, very good. All right, great, excellent, well done. Good representation of your sport and your family. Axel, anybody else? If not, Shomari would have spoken for the others.
I would imagine so. I think I've texted Mikel, but I think he might be a little bit late coming on, unfortunately.
Right. So, okay. So, folks, thank you very much for everyone attending this momentous occasion. The Team TTO Soca sleds are back. And, congratulations to the team. And, we now close off the official press conference because we had, as I said, we had target 45 minutes to an hour. So thank you very much, everyone, and be safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much. Axel, I know you'll be in contact. Congratulations and keep smiling.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. See you all soon. Thanks, guys.
Okay, great.